I was just watching Saturday Night Live did this sketch about like auditions for Jurassic Park, and they do a lot of impressions that I cannot do impressions. And when I see people do impressions, I think that's super impressive. Like I sit there and I go, how do they do that? How do they like analyze someone's patterns and characteristics and stuff like that? That's amazing. Like I had a friend that used to be able to do it pretty instinctually. And I wonder like now, are you that analytical like all the time? Like when you're talking to anyone, are you kind of critiquing all their gestures and stuff? The thing is, I can do an impression once I've seen one or two people do the impressions, but by that point, they boil down all the gestures and mannerisms and stuff that I can do an impression of an impression, basically. Look what's in my back. So that's what really caught my eye. Okay, I have two things. Impressions, which I just said, I can't do any impressions. So there's this improv game called Christopher Walken, and everyone is Christopher Walken in the scene, and you know how he talks in that certain pattern and hits the wrong words, intonation. Like I can't do. See, that was horrible. I can't do that. And all my friends that can do that, I think it's so funny. I love. Here's some funny things. I love impressions of Tracy Morgan more than I like Tracy Morgan. I've seen Tina Fey. I've seen Alex Baldwin. Seen Pharaoh. I've seen Eddie Murphy. I love impressions of Tracy Morgan more than I like Tracy Morgan. I don't know what it is. It's because he's such a big, bold character that seeing people do his impression is so fun to me. Um, I once saw Jimmy Fallon before he got big. This was when I was in college, and I think Saturday Night Live was just kind of shopping him around to colleges to see how well he would um, do with the college age, because that was probably his target demographic. And he did a stand-up that was brilliant and simple. He did it on squirt guns, and it was so simple but so funny. And then the second half of his set was doing impressions of Robin Williams doing impressions. He did an impression of Robin Williams doing impressions, blew my mind. That is talent. That is incredible talent. So I wish I could do impressions. Okay, so this is not what I expected to talk about. We talk about being vulnerable and open up my life to you. Let's look at what's in my background that I didn't check. First of all, this here, they're egg cartons that I have hung from the ceiling because I'm working on the acoustics in this room. It's very echoey, and these help a lot. And you can kind of see in the corners I have some flags raised, which I talked about the flags before, my second or third video. So it's really helped out my acoustics in here a lot, and I want to do a little bit more like dampening. Right? The second thing is, here's my cat Pride, and there's his food and water dish, and then you can hear him crunching. Of course, he stops as soon as I put. I don't know, you guys might not be able to hear that. But they come in here and they love to eat whenever I'm recording. That is when they feel like they need to eat. Otherwise, they are downstairs, asleep on the couch, and not paying rent, not washing dishes, not washing clothes, not getting groceries. They need to pull their weight, is what they need to do. Um, but this is a good example. Then there's a mirror back there, which I like that mirror. I use that every now and then. But I like it also because it makes the room feel bigger because it's a very small room. But this is a good example. Be aware of what's in your background before you start recording. One of the reasons I want to record this is because in a few minutes I'm going to do the improv online class, and I'm going to do Jaysuko, and Jaysuko's such a huge inspiration to me. He continues to be an inspiration to me, like his style and his philosophy and improv and everything. It just totally inspires me all the time. I want to bring this closer. I want my face to be closer. You can still see my cat. There's my cat in the corner. He's right there. There's my cat, right, eating. Um, So yeah, I want to do that because I wanted to do this live video really quick because I'm going to do the second in the online improv achievement classes. It's improv history and philosophy, and I'm kind of struggling over what I want the next one to be. I do want to do LGBTQI in improv. I either want to do that next, but the thing is, there isn't a lot of historical documentation on it, which makes it maybe this is the whole historical documentation on it, right? So there's that. I'm going to do that. Someone recommended that I do activism in improv. How people have used improv to do like happenings, or I've had someone who's like willing to speak on it because they study it. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. People that do improv for political or social commentary, art, public art, all that kind of stuff. And I thought that's very interesting. And then I thought I kind of want to do one on teachers, like what does it mean to be a good and bad teacher? And I wanted to actually get a couple of people that I think are incredible improv teachers and ask them, like, what are some bad teachers you've had? Not by name, but like, what are the habits of some bad teachers that you've experienced? Um, and then like, what do you try to, what is your goal in an improv class kind of thing? Like, so I'm thinking about that too. I think that might be interesting to people about improv teachers, or maybe I should do, I'm honestly improv leadership. That'd be such a good one because it could open to teaching, artistic directing. I think that's a good one. That's a good one. I might do artistic leadership. Thank you so much for listening to that. I'm actually going to write that down so I don't forget it. It is such a good idea. This is a pencil that says Hogwarts. So I'm just going to write that down really quick. Oh, it's not sharpened, so I can't. I guess I'll never use this. These are pencils I got made when I used to perform spectacles. It's called the IFL. I used to have a ton of these pencils. Not sharpened, so I'm not going to use that one either. Maybe I should sharpen some of these pencils. What about the mechanical pencil? God's pencil, because it never needs to be sharpened. Look at that. Lead at your fingertips. Leadership. See, one thing so there's two things that I struggle with. One thing is, as you can tell, I have a short attention span and I like distract myself a lot. So I almost forgot what I was gonna what I was gonna write down, even though I just had this huge epiphany with you. But I wrote it down. So that's one thing is I struggle with having like a shorter attention span. Another thing that I struggle with is maybe it's related to but I get impatient. Like I just want to do it. So like I didn't wait to be put on a house team. It's like, oh, I like that. I'm just going to put people together and I want to practice that form. Or, oh, that teacher's teaching something really cool. I want to wait till another course and I'm just going to practice it with some friends. So I've always been someone that's like, and I'm not like negatively impatient where I kind of go, oh, come no one's doing this. I'm going to do it. Like I'm not critical. Like judgment doesn't drive my passion. I just kind of go, oh, I want to do that. And I don't wait. I just try to do it, which is good and bad because I could probably do more research or could whatever it is. But I just go, I'm going to do it. And because I always figure that I'm going to learn from it, whether I succeed or not. That's my ideology. But those are my challenges. As I get ADHD, I don't get ADHD. That is so insensitive of me. I'm so sorry. I don't get ADHD. Who gets ADHD? No, that's so insensitive. What I mean is, I have a hard time with my attention span. I've never been tested for ADHD. I'm sure that I have some small form of it, because I lose my train of thought. I also mix like letters up and words up, and that's why I am opening up so much right here. It's funny. I was going to say I'm so sorry. Like I feel the need to apologize, but that's the focus of these videos. That is why I have so many typos on the improv booths. Like my mom will send me like emails. Oh, you misspelled because I get so impatient. I just want to put it out there and move on. But then I have like a short attention span where it's like I need to, I just done and move on to the next thing. So those are my struggles. And everyone's got flaws. Everyone's got flaws. Speaking of flaws, just kidding. I'm going to talk about the Improv Handbook. This is a book I read, and you can see they have a lot of notes and everything. For my PhD, one thing that I thought was really good about it, not only is it dense, look how big it is, it literally reads like a textbook. Excuse me. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Improvising in Comedy, Theater, and Beyond. It reads like a textbook on improv. Um, But one of the reasons why that's valuable to my studies, but it's also valuable because the writers, Deborah Francis White and Tom Selinsky, are English. And so I wanted to find out more about improv and how it's viewed in England. So that really helps out a lot. I was talking to one of my friends about this, and this makes me love the authors even more. I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And my friend who's not an improv comic, she goes, oh, yes, I just did a workshop with Deborah Francis White. She does a lot of women empowerment stuff. I was like, gotta love that. Gotta love that. Okay. So I thought what I'd do is I would flip through some of the here, and I would just do a reading. I'm gonna do a quick reading, and I'll have to say there's a few improv books where some of the content I would read it and I'd go, I just passed this note like, nope, I don't agree with that. I don't like that. I think it's destructive, or I just don't agree with the philosophy or whatever. And so this book had some of that. I also found that Mick Napier's Improvise from this Scene from the Inside Out had some moments like that as well. But I still think that's valuable because I don't want to be someone that just goes, I disagree with that, move on. I like to go, I disagree with that. Why do I disagree with that? And so then what do I believe? And that's why I like to travel is I'll go around the world and I went to Egypt and India and I've been to New Zealand, love New Zealand, Australia, Prague, Costa Rica, all these different places. And I like to see like what what do they do differently, and if I like or dislike it, well then what do I feel comfortable with, or what do I like? And that happens like on an infrastructure, social infrastructure level, on a religious level, on an environmental level, on like an economic level. So that's why I like traveling too. So what I was saying is there's parts of this book that I don't agree with, but then it's still extremely valuable to me because I sit there and go, well then what do I agree with? What are my thoughts on that? One thing that I do a lot is if I see a movie I like a lot, I go, what's my version of that? I see an improv show I like a lot. I go, what's my version of that? So yeah, um, I'm going to look for a page. Here we go. I'm just going to start off here. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs. Page 287, final thoughts. But if you look at the book, that's like almost halfway through it. So these can't be final thoughts. Okay. Lastly, improvisation by its very nature is a storytelling medium. Ignoring the presence of story is futile. Most attempts to remove story put something less interesting in its place, such as physical theater effects, comedy, shtick, back referencing, hoop games, shock tactics, or wisecracks. Out of these elements, positivity, risk taking, storytelling, great comedy can come. But comedy need almost never be an overt goal in workshops. Most great comedy is an expression of an individual's personality, and that personality can only be coaxed out. It can't be cut out and stuck to a board. The joy of a great improv show is seeing those vibrant, authentic personalities reflecting off each other and creating something genuinely fresh. I'm going to continue on just for a second, which I love that. I mean, that I totally agree with. In order to accomplish these feats, various individual skills must be acquired. By far the hardest is learning to tell spontaneous stories, since many of the sub-skills go so thoroughly against the grain, but the most important is being in a good state, since most audiences would far rather watch, this is an important point, most audiences would rather watch a happy improviser story go down in flames than a guarded improviser deliver a technically perfect story without a trace of daring or elation. I think that is amazing insight. I totally agree with that. For this reason, we begin by exposing the anxieties that novice improvisers are likely to feel and trying to make those feelings part of the conversation between teacher and student. Love that. I mean, I had a note there. I love that section because I agree it's that. I just did this post on the improv boost that's in improv, comedy is like one of the only things that we achieve by not trying very hard at it. Because I think, and I'll say this in workshops, I think trying to make someone laugh is the lowest form of comedy. I can't remember who said that. I think I heard that somewhere. I can't remember, but it's and TJ Jagodowski says effort is ugly. If you're sitting up there trying to be funny and trying to be funny, I think the audience kind of laughs out of pity, which is then they're doing you a favor. But if you do effortlessly and you are, here's the thing is I think if you play to the height of your knowledge, the height of your intelligence, if you play authentically and you say yes to everything that you can as a player to player, not it doesn't have to be character to character, something's going to happen, and that's going to be funny. I just saw this online show with Jay Suko and Brian Palermo, and talk about two powerhouses. I mean, love those guys. And so Jay Suko does this a lot, and he also puts himself in this position to do this a lot. Where he said to Brian's like, oh, Brian Palermo's been a character, like, oh, I love philosophy. And Jay Sugo goes, name your favorite philosopher. Like, it puts him on the spot because he's in Brian Palermo without even thinking, Heidegger. Oh, maybe it's Heidegger, he's German. Or maybe he's Dutch. Like, without it, because like, boom, 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 so quick. But Jay will do that. Like, okay, say it right now. First thing that pops out of your mouth is the correct answer, is the right answer, is the brilliant answer. The right answer that you're waiting to say or that you stumble for is not as fun, not as funny, not as rewarding as the first answer that pops out of your mouth, right? So I love that. I have gone off on a bit of a tangent, but that's like the effortlessness of like, if you play to the height of intelligence and you play genuinely, and you play positively, something will happen and it looks effortlessly. Also, if you make everything your scene partner does look like that's the exact right move at that time, the audience is gonna go, was that scripted? And you go, no, we just learned to accept and empower everything that our scene partner has done. Um, So yeah, there was another point I was going to make there too. Oh, I was saying that Jay Suko also puts himself in spots like this. One time when I performed with him and Monica in Improv Comedy Copenhagen. I think it's called Cocktails and Comedy. And we are performing, and Jay, oh dude, I love Jay. Jay walked on as a waiter, and he's like, "Hello, I'll be your waiter this evening," and da da da. And he's like, "So we have 13 different desserts," and like I know Jay, I know he's really strong. I was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and tell us what your desserts are." And my instincts are I don't want everyone to feel anyone feel humiliated. I want everyone to feel supported by me. So my instincts is like, A, oh, I should, but B, I know Jay. I know Jay, he can handle it, right? And so then he started lifting them off like bam, bam, bam. And I was like, so and I guess I don't know how, but he had like memorized this list from like TGI Fridays or Chili's or whatever it is. Oh, so funny. So good. Okay. That was Impressions and the Improv Handbook. Do I recommend this read? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 7 or 8. I think that my top three improv books that I recommend are Amy C. Ham's Whose Improv Is It Anyways? Great one in history. Paul Valancourt's Triangle of the Scene. Awesome. It just boils everything. I mean, it's like it's really short, but it boils everything down to skills and it has videos it offers, which is amazing. And then Do It Now. And that's a tiny book, but Do It Now by Parallelogram of Phonograph. And that's about like narrative improv, and that just because that is like, oh, brilliant. I think it's 4 essays. And Roy Janik's essay, I can't remember whose essay it is. But Roy Janik's essay was good, and I think that's the story of spine. And then there's another one that was really good. There was one like essay where I just had like nope, 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 because it's so good. Okay, cool. That's all I want to talk about. I hope you have a great day. I got to get moving because I have like 10 minutes before I'm going to do my course with Jay Suko. I hope to see you there. That'll be live too.